In a region of the North Pacific, a sea of garbage represents a sad scenario of environmental pollution. There, we see a research group led by Sophia and her husband Chris. They are on location, doing reports on the plastic continent. But suddenly, Jedi and Juan inform Sophia that they have picked up a signal from a shark they have been monitoring for several months. They quickly put on their wetsuits and jump into the water. All this while Sophia and Jade monitor from the control room. The four men approach something caught in the trash and soon discover that it is a baby jackal point, but with a large bite on its body. Chris approaches to check it out, but a shark rushes past him, scaring him. Soon after, several sharks surround the whale's body, and Sophia observes that there are only female sharks. Chris notices some nervousness in the animals, suggesting that they execute the safety protocol to move away. Just then, Jedi reports the signal of a well-monitored shark approaching. They arrive at the female shark named Lilith and are surprised to see her size. She now measures 7 meters when only some 3 months ago she was 25. Chris decides to leave to avoid all possible risks, but Sophia insists on taking a sample. Chris, albeit reluctantly, accepts but approaches the shark and pokes her to take the sample. However, the shark violently moves away, scaring everyone. The worst was yet to come. As the shark begins to circle the men, it quickly and suddenly attacks. Their screams are so loud that they are heard by Sophia and Jet, who can only ask what is going on. Sophia must act. She runs to the bow of the boat, grabs a napalm, and dives down to help her team members. However, she is surprised to see her husband's arm in front of her. Still, without scuba gear, she takes a breath and dives down to help her team members. Diving again, she sees Lilith approaching slowly. Seeing that she would be attacked, she shoots the shark. However, the beast gets entangled in a fishing net and drags Sophia down. With the change of pressure due to the high speed of the animal, Sophia's eardrums begin to burst, giving incredible screams of pain. But fortunately, reactions quickly cut the net that trapped her. Miraculously, she makes it, bleeding from the mouth, and reaches the surface, emerging in the middle of the shark-infested garbage. 3 years later, we are in Paris. Here, we meet 2 young men who are fishing with magnets in the Seine River. They find a bomb, so they call the bomb squad. Policeman Adil gives an interview to the press. After giving the statements, Adil is called back to the base for a meeting. On the other side, at the Marine Sample Center, Sophia is giving a lecture. A student mischievously asks if her group was killed by a shark, which destabilizes her emotionally. On her way out, a young woman named Mika stops her and tells her she admires her work. Then Mika mentions a label with the technical name given to the shark Lilith and claims to know where she is now. They take Sophia to a private NGO where she meets Ben, a young hacker who monitors all the shark tags. Ben shows her that Lilith has traveled the distance and has arrived at the same river in Paris. Sophia says that's impossible, but Ben explains that some species of sharks can survive in fresh water. He suggests that pollution in the sea could have disoriented Lilith, leading her to fresh water. Mig says they must do something to get the shark out of there before it's too late. They invite Sophia to dive with them. Sophia completely rejects the idea, but Mig tells her about a recent accident in the river. With everything that has happened, Sophia decides to go. Once home, she goes through old files and confirms that Jaws is in the same river. That night, Mick and Ben navigate the scene and stop under a bridge to dive. Mick finds the car from the accident and notices Jaws bites. Unfortunately, the police arrive and Mick is arrested while Ben flees. Soon after, Sophia arrives and drags the shark away. She sees the hobo's dog barking in the water and notices that the shark is walking away. Mick spends the night at the police station and Adil questions her about diving in the river. Mick mentions that there is a shark there, but Adil doesn't believe her. All this while, Sophia drags the shark away and finds a family playing near the river. The police take her to see Mick, who shows her the human remains confirmed as shark attacks. Adil and Sophia are taken to the commander, who doesn't believe the attacks are from a shark. They still manage to convince her to go on an underwater expedition. Adil prepares to dive and Sophia insists on not being a tracker from the shore, but at this point no one listens to her. Sophia accompanies him to the boat and tracks the shark. The team dives and finds a large dead fish. However, Mick disables the shark tracker, fearing it might kill the shark, and the shark disappears off the radar. Sophia asks to pull the rope and returns to the boat. The team senses something big, and Adil confirms the presence of the huge shark. Sophia and Adil argue about the disappearance of the signal, and Sophia follows Mick home to her base and confronts her. Mick blames Sophia for the death of her team, triggering painful memories. At the precinct, Adil suggests closing the airlocks, but the commander refuses because of the upcoming triathlon. Mick makes a live broadcast asking to save the shark, and Adil apologizes to Sophia and invites her to talk to the mayor. However, she refuses to cancel the event. Sophia, Adil, and the commander decide to capture the shark and track it to the catacombs. Ben reveals that Lilith is moving through the catacombs and takes Sophia to the site. Mick and other activists are there, and Adil calls for reinforcements and arranges an evacuation. But Mick insists on staying in the area, scanning with sonar, which attracts Lilith. Mick touches the pup. But the sharks agitate and swim down. Everyone starts to panic. Even Adil tries to pull Mika off, but she is only confused getting off Adil. The shark devours her. After this, there is a rampage that could be summed up in hours. They return to the incident and see that the shark pup was found in the water. Sophia examines the body of the animal and talks about how it has adapted to fresh water. When asked what the animals are doing in Paris, Sophia says they must be using the catacombs of the city as a safe place to reproduce, as Paris is one of the few cities that offers this ecosystem. Sophia suspects something and, upon opening the belly with a scalpel, is shocked to discover that it has young waiting. According to her detection, it is just over 2 months old, and she explains that the animal reproduces by parthenogenesis, that is, it does not need a male to procreate. Sophia believes she made a mistake with the Lilith species. They say this species is probably new. She claims that if they are not eliminated, they will continue to reproduce and colonize the oceans very quickly. At the mayor's office, they talk about the incident. The mayor says that there are less than 24 hours left until the triathlon competition, and they don't know how to break the news. Sophia is outraged by the indifference of the city's top authorities and says they should cancel the competition. With this, the mayor orders her removed from his office and tells the police that the army will take care of security. Later, during an interview, the mayor answers questions about the shark but does not make it clear if it exists or not, downplaying the incredible importance of the incident. Nearby, in a cafe, the commander Adil, Sophia, and the police team complain about everything. But Adil and Sophia don't want to give up and decide to do something. They gather the whole police team, including the commander, and explain their plan. After they all agree, Sophia shows them what to do, and Adil introduces them to 2 colleagues who are explosives experts. Then he explains how they will execute the plan. They begin to act with various devices, including bombs that will be activated, and they will have little time to leave the site once everything is prepared. Before the explosion, Adil and Sophia jump into the water. They head to the bottom and follow a narrow passage with a sound wave programmer that mimics the sound of sharks. Meanwhile, on the banks of the Seine, several army soldiers divert people and patrol the waters. All this while, the competitive swimmers are in a position to start. Many people look forward to the competition, unaware of the danger lurking below. Adil and the others arrive at the specified location and ask for confirmation of the position of the team above in the boat. They were late and asked for 2 more men under attention. Adil decides to turn everything on, leaving everyone astonished. There were not a few sharks, but hundreds of them. This situation goes far beyond what they expected, but they have no choice but to continue. Meanwhile, the mayor starts the triathlon competition, and hundreds of swimmers dive into the river, unaware of the immense danger they are in. Sophia approaches the nest center and activates the sound programmer. While the team above begins to act, they open a side passage so that the team Adil and Sophia can escape from the nest in time. This would not be possible if they tried to go back the way they came, as they would die in the explosion. However, Sophia realizes that the shark's mother is not there. Returning with the specialists, they finish, setting everything up, but are suddenly attacked and devoured by several sharks. The control of the bomb slips out of the power officer's hand, and Sophia asks the rest of the team not to make any sudden moves. One of the officers, thinking he has no escape, decides to activate the bomb but is also killed by several sharks. Sophia grabs a propeller and drags Adil as fast as she can to get them out of the area. The 2 officers integrate the explosion and anxiously wait for the dive team to show up. But as the minutes pass, suddenly Sophia emerges, pulling Adil out. They pull Adil onto the boat, but Sophia for some reason decides to return. Once she gets off, she is completely shocked to see Lilith as the animal emerges from the debris but surprisingly ignores her and heads elsewhere. Sophia returns in desperation, warning the others that Lilith has escaped. They all fall into the water, and the furious shark quickly devours one team member in one bite and then brutally rips another in half. At that moment, Adil and Sophia manage to reach the overturned boat, climbing in even though it offers the least possible safety. They see the shark heading towards the swimmers, who are swimming with their arms and legs. The creature drags the competition guide, making its location known. With this, Adil and Sophia decide to follow the animal to warn all the swimmers of the terrible danger. Lilith quickly approaches from behind, biting one by one on the shore. The competition judges see the animal and signal to everyone. This is where the general panic begins. On the shore, people are in shock watching the carnage, and the press films how Lilith is giving the easiest feast of her life. The army arrives and starts shooting where they think the shark is. The commander orders them to cease fire because of the danger of bombs in the area. Adil and Sophia are pulled out of the water. In the middle of the shooting, one touches a W2 bomb, and inevitably, one of them explodes, causing a chain reaction with numerous massive explosions. This quickly destroys bridges and causes immense pressure in the water. Everything in the city is destroyed. But it gets even worse when Sophia realizes that the shark nightmare is not over and sees several sharks swimming everywhere, while the city is submerged in water that is now polluted from the river itself.